everyone, and welcome to I'm a Fan. I'm your host, Kim Epperly, and today in our studio we have artist Stephanie Kosinski, and she's an interdisciplinary artist, a trash preserver, and fact stylist who works with found objects, paintings, video, and she has a dark humor. Hey, Stephanie,
Hey, what's up?
was I correct with that?
Pretty good. I use they them pronouns though, but whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to start off and talk about the history of, your life growing up and when sort of figured out that you were an artist.
Oh, okay. I don't know if I don't know if there was a figure it out moment. It was more like just always doing it. Just not even before I knew what art was. Like just
Well, were you
always.
always drawing as a kid, like drawing did your parents support that or
No, it was always like you're making more work for me. You're making a mess.
like
um, Yeah. I was
well,
that kid that would cover the furniture with stickers and,
oh, nice.
oh, this shampoo looks a pretty color. What would it look like on this? Like, I was that kid. Hmm.
So in high school, did they have a curriculum that included art classes? Because I know in my high school they did.
More in my, because I went to public middle school, so it was more in middle school that I had like a whole class devoted to art. And we only had like, we didn't even have all 3 years art, but that was like, I think the first time I got exposed to like, oh, this can stand on its own and is actually important and is not just like something to keep you busy or something. So, but in high school, I kind of did it when I when I just was like not paying attention because we we would have like ridiculous notes we would have to take in classes. I remember and things that were like church history that I was like, why am I ever going
Oh.
to use this? I'm never going to use this. So I had like notebooks that I would do my doodles so they looked like notes. Like the pattern of the doodles from far away would look like language, but it
Yeah.
was doodles.
That's crazy. Was there ever like a aha moment, like something that you doodled or drew that you thought, "Wow, this is really fantastic."
I used to do comics of a person with a bag on their head. In high school it was like
That is
a
so you.
thing. Yeah, it was like this non-gendered bag head person that just always was in these horrible, awkward situations. And yeah, yeah.
Did
And
you
then
ever say did you ever save any of that? Like, do you still have it?
the thing is, like, all the platforms back then in like 2003 or whatever, a lot of them are like getting shut down or like taken off now. Like
Oh.
Adobe Flash,
Yeah.
they just got rid of, and I did like some of my first digital drawings on
Oh,
there.
wow.
I
Okay.
was like, oh no. So I screenshotted
You
what I
Oh,
shot.
good. Yeah,
Um,
good.
yeah, I remember in high school there was like it wasn't particularly an art class. It was just like Adobe Flash class we had, and the assignment was to like draw a house, and everyone drew like a normal picket house, and my house was all run down, and it had like a oven on the front lawn, and just like clothes everywhere, and like the ceiling was caving in, and
Oh my
my
God.
teacher was like, my teacher was like, "What is going on with your house?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, they like to cook outside. They like to barbecue." And that,
So I first became aware of you when I think Hub 17 did some art show, and you had this. I don't know if it was like this painting or this. It was something of a baby.
oh, the red collage
Yeah,
thing.
can you explain that because that just blew my mind.
I so that was like a small piece, and it was this found photo. I feel like from the '60s or maybe the early '70s of this like awkward looking. I want to say brother and sister. I like to make up stories about things I find. Anyway, um, and it just said, "I will show you how." But yeah, I mean, a lot of those collages I was making then, I was my rule for myself was like, okay, like 3 minutes on each collage, and like they have to be like a certain size, and just like not really thinking about what I'm trying to say or anything, just like stream of consciousness stuff. So,
Well, I always found that your artwork is definitely something to talk about. Like, regardless of how anybody sees it, you know, it's profound in a lot of ways because it has a lot of different messages with each piece, and the process that you go through to come up with some of your stuff. But that was my first experience with you, and I thought, like, wow, what a mind this girl has. Like, it's just so crazy. And then I asked you one year, I think it was 2018. I told you about the Grand Guignol, the theater of horror that
yeah,
I was doing, and I asked you to do the tent that you go into.
like the tree.
Yes, and it was really large too. I want to say it was maybe 10 feet by 8, maybe 10 feet
Yeah,
by
those
8.
were the drop cloths.
Right, but it was big.
Yeah.
And oh my God, tell me about how you ever came up with that because that was I love that.
Oh yeah. Well, there's always like this image of like I feel like two faces for theater,
Mm,
and everyone knows those like happy sad faces or whatever. But this when I never even heard of like a type of theater like this, and when you explained to me what it was, I was like very intrigued. I was like, what?
yeah,
We're gonna do horror special effects, but it's
y-
theater.
yeah,
It's really cool. So I wanted to do two figures because that's like very in the vein of theater, but yeah, these were kind of like ghostly, gory, like otherworldly things, I guess.
yeah.
And then the faces I did like sort of like a ribbon as the faces because the masks of theater or whatever. But
Right. It was really
yeah,
amazing,
it
and
was just
oh,
like
remember the Directors Chair Film Festival and this the one mural Aaron did like the one of the cards. I asked you to do like a movie theme.
oh, the apocalypse.
Yes, the apocalypse you did.
Yeah,
That was
that's
yes.
so pertinent to have done that right before Trump and everything, right? I just
Yeah,
drew
it
an
would make
abandoned
sense now
city
even.
with like the cop car burnt out with the plants coming out of it.
Yeah. Yes, such a great piece. And then you also did some T-shirts. One that I remember, the Money Cat,
Mhm.
and then I called him the Deputy Dog. I don't know,
Yeah.
the Deputy.
Oh, it was like
It was
the
a
dog.
dog holding a baby dog or something. Yeah,
Yeah,
so good.
someone that like I don't know. When I was in another state, I was wearing that shirt, and they asked me if it was Mr. Peanut Butter from BoJack Horseman. Did
Never
you
heard
ever
of
watch?
it. No.
Oh, it's a very dark cartoon, but Mr. Peanut Butter is like it looks like that dog. So I was
Oh,
like, they were
oh
like, "Did
God.
you work on BoJack Horseman?" I'm like, "No."
Wow. Yeah, I'll have to
And
Google
I made
that.
that before that show came out too, so
Yeah,
that's
yeah. But it's funny because I just asked you, hey, do a T-shirt. We're doing a film festival, and you came up with the Money Cat, and I'm like,
um, everybody knows Monica.
yeah, I've never seen anything like it, and I
Cat.
just love it. Like,
Good luck.
yeah, exactly. But other murals that you've done, even in Staten Island, you did one for the library that it was Reed, the big murals across from the library.
The letters.
Yes, the letters. And you had a
That's,
letter, I think.
yes. I don't remember what letter, but yeah. I remember I painted like a very ghostly Harry Potter scene though, but mostly
Yes.
just on the owl. It was more like owls.
It was great.
Like a Twin Peaks crossover. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I just thought that whole wall, that whole mural, the way they thought of designing it was really interesting and
Yeah,
very unique.
definitely. And to give like the artist a shape to work in is a lot. I
That
feel
has to
like
be.
it helps you not think it's so overwhelming. It's like, okay, you can only work within this or whatever. So
I would think that would be harder.
I'm just saying in comparison to like if we had to do the whole wall top to bottom.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you've done some of those too.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah. I think there was one, was it on Castleton that you did? It was sort of like a sketch kind of thing.
No, I don't think it was. It's
Carrie, maybe?
it's in Port Richmond.
Port Richmond, right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that one. That one is like so personal to me because my grandfather is from that neighborhood and the Kosinskis go way back in Port Richmond, and um, and like one of my earliest memories of someone drawing with me is my grandfather doodling with me on like those yellow legal pads. So the style of that one kind of looks a little like wonky and like
Yeah,
naive
it's
because
different, definitely.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
not usually what I do, but it from the texture of the gates is like these horizontal lines, and I immediately thought of like just doodling on like what I did in high school too, like doodling on a notebook that's meant for writing. Um, so I made the gates look like a yellow legal pad, and then I just kind of did doodles of like just people that I just like sketched in the neighborhood and some personal
Yeah,
things too.
seems like it kind of brings it back home to you, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
and I don't really mind if people like would go into it and graffiti it too. I mean, whatever, that's cool. Add to it.
like,
It's a
yeah, I
doodle
never
pad.
thought of
Like,
that. Yeah.
yeah, I was like, I left a lot of big spaces hoping someone would come
Oh,
by and just,
wow. Oh, so maybe I'll
but
take a trip over there and maybe put
I
some
haven't
in.
been over there in a while. Yeah,
Yeah, maybe we'll take
yeah,
a ride. Yeah,
I really enjoyed doing that one. I mean,
yeah.
yeah, that was such a cool thing that they gave like artists the gates to do that year. I think it
Thank,
was a few
yeah,
years.
thank God they allow artists to do that. Like there's been a numerous amounts of many projects with like murals that
Yeah,
are spread out around Staten Island that are really really cool.
yeah.
It
Oh,
really adds.
I went past Maker Park recently, and some of them got graffitied over, but the the one I did that says everything takes time,
Yeah.
the the texture on the shipping container is huge. It's like deep. It's like
Oh
it's like
wow.
super deep
Yeah.
when
Wow.
you're painting on it. So someone tried to tag over my everything takes time, and you see they're like, oh wait, this is like labor intensive,
Wow.
and they stopped.
Yeah, you'll have to
They
point that out
stopped.
to me. I haven't seen that one. You did like they I remember when they were doing them on the shipping container.
Got moved because they've been doing a lot of that park's been being used a lot,
Yeah, they're changed. They have a whole theater stage now in it
yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff. It's really cool. Um, I just want to mention. Oh, and the other one that was really a favorite of mine that I love is the Mermaid project you did at the Hub with
Oh
a bunch
yeah,
of
that's like
artists.
what was that
That was amazing.
2015? Yeah,
Yeah,
that
tell
was
me.
really fun.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember the big shark.
Yeah.
I think Patty did that one. Patty
Yes,
Kelly.
Patty did the shark that became.
Yeah.
It was
Speaking
like
of
a
Patty
boat.
Kelly, you did a project with her too with a kaleidoscope.
Yes. Yep.
So tell me about that. Yeah.
That was a like a 6 foot um, collaborative kaleidoscope. So basically, like a normal kaleidoscope, you can just look at it as one person. But this, since it was so large, you had to communicate with someone to turn one end, and then you would
Wow.
look in this end. So it
Yeah.
was kind of encouraging people to like communicate and like also see something beautiful. Of course,
Now,
Patty did the glass.
well, yeah, she designed and made the glass part of it, and then you did the art on the scope itself,
Yes, and
like the
there
what it
was a
looked
figure
like.
on the base and was
Yeah,
like holding it up.
it was
And we
really
had
beautiful.
we had paper mache hands holding the tube
Yes.
like that, and we got like random people from the hub to just like put a glove on, and we like modeled it over the hand. And then they were like, "This takes a long time." I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, it was really
Now
beautiful.
here.
Yeah, tremendous amount of work on that, and it was just really nice. Um, so tell me about one of your favorite art pieces. I know you just told me one about the mural, but that has a lot of meaning to you.
Oh, I just finished a painting that has a lot to. I finished it during the pandemic. So yeah, I just finished a painting that I think I want to like expand on further other time, more future times, whatever. Um, so this painting was of like modeled after a photo in like a Burger King when I was in like middle school, and
Okay.
this okay, so this Burger King was like chaotic, like it was like no man's land, like kids would just come in there and fill up their water bottles with soda and come in with their bikes and like trash this place, and
Oh, wow.
it had sports memorabilia everywhere, and the chairs were like sports, and it was very like 90s, early 2000s, and they don't do that
No,
anymore.
that sounds
Everything's
so weird.
very Starbucksified now.
Huh.
um, and there was also like this peacock that like got ran over in the parking lot, and there was
No.
like a I remember there was
No.
like it's horrible. There was like a memorial to the peacock, but it was this terrible looking wooden cutout that was
Oh,
really frightening of a
there was a
peacock
memorial for the peacock?
in the Burger King that was sports themed.
Oh my
And
God.
this was like the only place when I was in like middle school and high school that was like safe. That
Yeah.
wasn't like somebody's house, you know?
Hmm.
So I did this painting with like two figures sort of embracing, which I was also, everyone was missing during the pandemic. Like, where are my friends? You know? So I was like reaching back to this time where like we would just go to this like crazy burger place, and it was just always nuts in there. And I did all these sort of artifacts in the background that have special meaning to me that were like different memories in that time. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
very like pre social media
Yeah.
time,
So
but
how
still
did you
wild.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So you did this during the COVID pandemic.
Yes.
So
Uh,
how did you cope with that? I mean, as an artist, like, artists especially, I mean, it's kind of a solitary job anyway,
yeah.
but it must have brought up a lot of stuff with you, and then maybe you created new kind of art related to it,
It's
which
weird. Yeah, I during it I was still making stuff, and I thought I was like okay, and now that it's like a year or more later, I'm feeling the like uh fatigue of it, and people are like, "What are you working on right now?" And I'm like, I don't have it in me right now. Like I'm of the since like spring, I think I've been feeling this where I'm just like, whoa, I have like nothing kind of flowing through me that I usually do,
yeah.
because I I I take a lot of like my energy to create from like situations I see, or like commuting, or like a lot of interaction. And yeah, also did a zine on like Tiger King during
Mm.
the
Oh,
pandemic.
that was a
That
really
was a
weird
very
show.
weird like media
Yeah.
niche thing that was like wild and chaotic. And
I debated
yeah,
if I was going to watch that or not, and I did, and wow.
whoa, wow,
Yeah.
right?
It was
And
really kind of sick.
it was,
Yeah.
yeah. and just the layers and the levels to it. Yeah, it was like it should have been like an A&E show. I feel like, or
And it's
something
so
like
weird because that
TLC.
is a whole weird different lifestyle. Like
Yeah.
that's like almost like a cult kind of existence, like with
Yes,
tigers.
especially that woman Carol Baskin. Like
Yeah.
she just got people to take care of all her animals, and
Yeah.
they were like fine with it.
It was creepy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Um
noticed some friends were drawing all the characters from it and were also creeped out by it. And I'm like, wait a minute, we're all drawing this at the same time. We should combine these. What are we doing right now? We
well,
all never discussed this, but we're doing it.
yeah, and it's kind of weird maybe you should have, since you're feeling like the I think all of us are feeling like the strain of it all, like the pandemic and the fear, because
Yeah.
now they're saying that we're on the rise again with
Right,
cases, and
right,
because people aren't
right.
wearing their masks or whatever it may be. Tons, I mean, recently they had the basketball playoffs and the last game for the NBA, and I was watching it with Kenny, and what was insane about it was the amount of people there. Like outside of the stadium was 65,000 people, and they were all like grouped into this very small space, and I'm thinking there's a petri dish waiting to happen. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
it's and it's
yeah.
that way all over right now. So,
Right.
but I think a lot of us have been feeling like an underlying melancholy about it, including myself, trying to get back out into the world in a safe manner.
Right.
And that's the struggle. We want to like be around creatives. We want to, get that energy like you were talking about.
Hmm.
But it's hard because the world is not the same.
Right. I know.
So that's what I was asking you, as a creative person, do you feel yourself, like you said, you haven't been feeling anything creative, but is there a part of you that may want to tap into that dark side and create some pieces related to it?
Yeah. I feel like the first piece you mentioned. That's like my dark side when I don't think about it and I just stream of consciousness, like really dark shit comes out. It's just like one like 5 word sentences that are really like just like hit people, and I'm like,
Well,
emotions are fluid, and
yes,
gotta
yes.
get it out.
Yeah, and I don't want to take anybody to the dark side, Luke,
Hmm.
the dark side, but
Yeah.
but it's in there, and maybe it needs to come out so we can move
Yeah.
forward, you
I
know?
don't trust art that's just like pretty and nice.
Oh my God. And that was a whole discussion I had with a person recently about, I can't even, but about
Yeah,
pretty art, how
yeah,
people only display pretty art.
yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, there's always a voice in my head of one of my family members going, "You gonna make nice art? When are you gonna make nice art? It's not. What is this?"
Wait, does your family talk like that? Okay. I'm sorry. It's like, you sound like Edith Bunker.
A little bit.
Like, but yeah, you're right. So like recently I'm working on a CD, and the first song on the track is We Got This, and it's about all the protesting and the nastiness of it all. And I'm not afraid to dig deep into what I'm feeling about that, and create it into a song, into music. And that's why I always ask artists like what they're feeling, what they're creating, because we have the platform to do that. Not everybody has to do that. You have a gift.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. There's a song I've been actually listening to a lot that I heard on WFMU, and it's just like one of the bike protesters last June, and you hear
mm,
the people just ringing their bike bells and cheering in
oh,
the
oh
background,
wow.
and it's sort of edited to be like rhythmic, and the person's just like talking about all the positive things that have been happening with it and all that, and I'm just like, oh, this makes me want to cry. I love it.
Yeah, I mean there is a positive side to it, but we had to go through a lot of darkness to get there. So I
Yep.
give you a lot of credit for the things that you do, and the expression. You have an amazing style, which is it definitely, people talk about your pieces, and that's why I keep reverting back to you to do work on some of my projects, because I love the way your mind thinks. I mean, recently I had asked you to work in on the Lizzie Borden shop, and you created a couple pieces there, which I thought, the one was the poison dress.
Yeah. But yeah, I had that idea like percolating for quite a while, so it felt nice to finally have the go to do it. So yeah.
Yeah, and then the most recent one you did, which I just think is so amazing, is the burning dress.
Yeah, yeah, I really enjoyed doing that one. And I was also I just got Procreate like recently, so I was like also relearning how to draw digitally with that. So I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I remember this a little bit. Like when I first learned how to do that, I wasn't really into it. I was like, why do we need to just draw straight on screens? What is this? Like
Yeah.
when I learned it in like 2009, I'm like, I'm never gonna need this, and that never happened. There's always a time when you need it. So
Yeah, and I love the detail. You really paid attention to, first of all, the dress and the design of the material, and what it
yeah.
meant. And also, I noticed, and I didn't ask you to do this, but you did it. You, under the L, the, what do they call them, monograms, or like when you
Oh,
do a
like
letter?
the symbol, the suit of the card.
Well, no, just the letter L, like
Yeah.
but behind it, you put a
Yes.
pear,
Yes.
which you were paying attention, because a
Yes.
pear is significant in the
It
story.
is.
And I saw that and I'm like, wow, this girl, she rocks. Like, she pays attention.
Yeah, and I really liked when you told me all about that Bedford cord
Yeah.
pattern because I did go to FIT and there was always people around me talking about like materials and pattern design and stuff, and I was always like in earshot of that. So it's like interesting to me to know things like that. But I like your idea of like, yeah, it was so busy. Like, what could it have been hiding?
Yeah. Yeah, right? So
Yeah.
FIT, that's the School of Art, but does it have a lot of different mediums? Because I always thought of that as a designer, like if you're creating clothing line or something. Does it
Yeah,
have
I
more,
mean
or?
that's what they're known for, but they do have um, illustration and fine arts department and textile, all the other things that go with fashion, textile things and printmaking and stuff like that. But uh, yeah, I haven't been inside the building in like over 10 years, so I'm sure it's probably better now. But when I was there, it was like, no, no, we focus on this, but like you do you, okay? You guys over here, like. But
That had to be a great experience, though.
yeah, the one good thing about that school is a lot of the professors there also taught at the really expensive, like bougie, you're going to be in debt for a house art
Oh,
schools. Yeah. So there was a lot of professors I had there that were like the house designer for like Dior and like
oh,
just like
wow.
really cool. Oh, and then also at when I was leaving that school, I had to get a mentor, and I found out later the mentor ended up working there, and he was a like political collage artist that I seeked out on my own because I really liked. It was like really dark and weird as art, and I was like, I need to talk to you. We need to.
Did you have a final project you had to do for them, like a final art piece?
It was so we didn't really have like a thesis or anything, but we had like math. Like we had like classes that you would slowly get to like a mastery level with. Like you would
Mm-hmm.
have painting, and then it would be like, okay, now we're gonna have oil painting. Now we're gonna like just work on one oil painting for the whole semester.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was like, yeah, it was like just like focusing on stuff like that. But the final, they just sort of it was from what I remember, you just sort of submitted what you thought you did best at, at the
Oh,
time,
okay.
and I submitted something I didn't even do in school. I had,
Really?
yeah, I had been making um, these vintage books, and I had been making like collages on every single page and little illustrations,
Mm-hmm.
and it was not for any class. It was just like I need to do this to stay sane.
Okay.
Doing one painting for like the whole
Month.
months, like I
Months.
yeah no,
Wow.
and so yeah, so I had been working on these like weird intricate like books, and I submitted that, just being like, let's see if they like this, and they loved it. They were like,
Oh,
this
good.
doesn't look like anything else.
Yeah.
What class was this for? Like,
That's great.
yeah. And they put it on like a pedestal, I remember, and there was like glass on top, and I was like, whoa, I feel like I'm in the Met. Oh, what is this? Oh my
But
God.
that's good because
Yeah.
you went against the norm and they respected that. So
Yeah.
that says something about the school and the teachers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, sure I have to credit them. They definitely, within the first like year I was there, my drawings, the quality of them was so much better. I was just
Mm-hmm.
like I witnessed such a like change in how I drew from when I first got there, and yeah, and I definitely want to give them credit for that. But like, yeah, I think at a certain point I was just like, okay, I'm gonna just do me now. Like,
You're ready. You've learned
yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
we were my time there was also this weird time before when there was still like magazine print, and they
Mm.
weren't sure where like images, if people were still going to want images because everything's going digital or whatever. And I was like, no, people are going to be more image hungry than ever, I feel like,
Yeah.
as we are now, where we just doom scroll through pictures and videos. So
Right. Right.
just transformed. So yeah, a lot of the professors I had that were like fashion illustrators from the 70s were like, oh no, everything's gonna go away.
Well, I'm sure since you started art and up until now, a lot of things have changed art wise, like digital art.
Yeah.
Computers came around, and everybody's doing things on computers now. And
Yeah.
that is that a learning curve, like to
I think the way you can do it now is so much easier because it, like on an iPad, it mimics a pen and paper like mechanically with your body so much better than with a mouse like back in the
Oh,
day.
right, right, because they give you an actual pen, right, that you can use
Right, and
now.
you
Yeah.
you write on the actual surface versus like when I was in like middle high school, you were like writing on a surface over here and it would appear over there. So it was kind of like a delay in your mind of
Yeah.
like, where, what am I doing? This is not,
And
this
and
doesn't
I'm
line up.
and I'm sure you can more easily manipulate colors and that kind of thing, right?
Exactly. Yeah, they would give us techniques to do that when we would do it in traditional media, but like that was like you really wanted to negotiate. This is the final product. This is what you're getting, and then you would have to like edit the scan and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah,
So
wanted to be
technology keeps just getting better and better, and but I think sometimes it's costly because you have to buy and keep up with it.
yeah.
So sometimes it could hinder, maybe. I don't know. I remember when my friend I used to live with, he was a writer, and he used the old Smith Corona typewriter, the tinky tink tink tink
Whoa.
tink 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 tink, right? So at nighttime, at 3 o'clock in the morning, he's writing tink tink tink, and it would keep you up all night. And when the computers came out, I said, "Thank you, Lord," because you didn't hear the clackety clack, like
Mm.
could like now
I went through a
laptops.
typewriter phase in college.
Yeah,
I was that person. I was like, oh, let me just.
yeah, you had to carry that shit around like.
Yeah. There used to be one place on 14th Street that I had typewriter ribbons still
Oh,
back.
Oh, remember the correct ribbon? When you had a correct, like the white, they had an extra white ribbon, I think.
But then that's really cool for like black paper, though. I was just using
Oh,
it to be crazy.
oh,
Yeah, a
of
friend
course you were.
yeah, a friend and I would bring the typewriter to Starbucks, and we would just be really loud with it in Starbucks. The one on Astor Place, yeah. Just write
So,
like crazy.
so, what's next for you? Like, what's on your plate, or what do you hope you're gonna do, or?
Um, um, Good question. I'm trying to use up the art supplies I have. That's one of my resolutions. Use what you have.
Okay.
So that's kind of fun because then it's like, okay, I don't have this, but I have this, so what can we do with that? Um, when you do run out of things. Um, I applied for that. I forgot what it's called, but it was like that 5K grant that
New
went
York
around.
City,
Yeah,
whatever grant thing. Yeah.
I forget what it was called. So yeah, that's a hope. What else? I mean, there's a lot more like outdoor things I see happening theater wise in the
Yeah.
park. So I might take my masks out, do that. I don't know. So it's really, it's really going day by day, week by week. That's
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
I'm very living in the present right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Understandably.
yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good. But I know we're going to make a trip again to Patty Kelly's in upstate New York at some point, which is, that was a lot of fun. But anyway, I want to thank you so much for being on this show. And
Yeah.
I just want you to know that I am truly a fan of yours, if you don't know by now. Um,
After, I mean, after reading your book, I'm solidified more a fan of yours.
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And, a lot of people couldn't take my book because it was so, a lot of people's, well, not a lot of people, one or two people here and there said it was too grisly for them. It was
But
too kind of,
it's not like you don't know what you're getting into, like I don't know.
well, I'd look at it like the facts are the facts. That's
Yeah,
it. So it
right,
is what it
right.
is. But thank you for reading the book, by the way. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm
But
I'm a avid reader actually. I
that's
tear,
great.
tear through books all the time.
Yeah, so do I. So do I. I read a lot. Actually, later on, well, I'm in another one of these. I'm gonna have a couple writers on. So
Cool,
yeah.
nice,
But
awesome.
I really do look forward to your next project and what you're gonna do for us because it's always a surprise
I
and
have.
and we always I know I could look at something and really quickly know it's your work because you have a style and I just adore that style. So anyway, thank you again for coming on the
Yeah,
show
thanks
and
for having me.
we will speak soon.
Okay,
And for all of yous out there, is that right? Youth?
you.
For all of you out there, thanks for tuning in and until next time,